Okay, this lesson is going to be on multiplication properties. Last week we talked about addition properties, and we're going to compare the multiplication properties with the addition properties that we already know. So let's start. Let's go ahead and first look at our first property, which is going to be the identity property. Now remember, the identity property for addition was anything plus a number, let's say 5 plus 0 equals that number, 5, right? Well, the identity property for multiplication is different. There's not a 0 in it, it's a 1. So 1 times 6 equals 6, and 6 times 1 equals 6. So anything times 1 is going to equal that number. So like our mirror, where the 0 is our mirror, now we have a long straight mirror. So think of it as the mirror property, but now the mirror is long and straight like the number 1. So the identity property now is with 1 instead of 0. Now there is a 0 property of multiplication. It's going to be right here. Let's look at the 0 property. The 0 property of multiplication is going to say that any number times 0 is 0. It's like saying that you have 9 0 times. Well, how many times do you have 9? 0. So how much do you have? 0. And that's called the 0 property. So we have the identity property and the 0 property. It's an extra property for multiplication that we did not have for addition. Then we're going to move to the commutative, and associative. Those are just like the addition properties. The commutative property says that if you multiply a number, like 2 times 4, it's going to equal the same thing turned backwards, 4 times 2. So basically it's our fact families. You can change the order and your answer is going to be the same. Commutative property for multiplication and addition are the exact same thing. Associative property. Associative property is the grouping property, right? It means who do you hang out with? Who are you grouped with? Remember, what do parentheses first say? Parentheses say, do me first. So if you look right here, it says 2 times 2 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3. So the first thing you would do here is you would multiply 2 times 3, get 4, and then you would say 4 times 3 equals 12. On this side, you wouldn't do 2 times 2 first, you would do 2 times 3 first. That equals 6. 6 times 2 also equals 12. They're the same. So it doesn't matter what you decide to group to multiply first, it's going to give you the same answer. Now, let's go on and try some other problems. Okay, you're going to work numbers 1 through 6 on your own. It's just naming the property that you could possibly use to answer the questions. But in the bottom part, numbers 7 through 15, you have to find the product, which is the answer to a multiplication problem, and then name the property you use. So, look at number 7, 4 times 8. What property could you use to answer that problem? Well, you're not going to use 0, you're not going to use identity because there's not a 1 or a 0 in it. So you're probably going to use, and there's not 3 numbers, so you're probably going to have to use 4 times 8, right? Which is the same as 8 times 4, which would be the commutative property. Look at number 8. There's 3 numbers in it, so obviously you're going to use the associative property. Remember, what do you have to multiply first here? You have to multiply 5 times 2 first here. 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 10 equals 30. And 30 is the product. And what property did we use? We used the associative property. Good. Now, you can look at all the other ones, numbers 9 through 15, and you are ready to go on your own. I think you're going to rock and roll with this one.